I met a former editor for Pokemon, and he revealed Pokemon cards that were never released.
Hi, I'm Michael Ryan. I was the first editor for Pokemon. I've been on Leon's show before, so it's nice to see you all again. I'm bringing Leon something special this time around. When I was at Pokemon and we were trying to teach kids how to play, we were discovering that they weren't really playing even remotely correctly. What they were doing was saying, I have 100 hit points. How many do you have? I have 60. Oh, then I win. And that was the end. So we thought we've got to find a way to teach them. So we had this staged learning idea. It went on for a couple of months. And the idea was, well, we give them flashcards. And the flashcards will teach them one step at a time how to play the game. So we had the design team draft up these cards. And what we did was we gave them the rules, right? And then there were two decks. We had the decks listed on the back so that they would end up back in the same order, so that they would be playing with a stacked deck, right? So then we would walk them through step by step. This one first talks about energy, right? And what do you need to do to play energy? How do you attach it? And then when they were done playing and learning that step, there was a question on the back of the card that said, all right, how do you use what we just taught you? So we taught them about energy, and this one is about how to stage your attack, so that they would get the same question. If an attack needs X and Y, what do you need to have in order to make that happen? So this goes through myriad steps, right? The bench and what is this one? Oh, attacking. You need that one right away. So we would go through all of these steps, right? And we would watch them. These kids would be behind glass. So we had one-way mirrors, and we went to this demo studio and watched them through the glass, trying to learn how to play this. They were really excited to have the cards, but they weren't really grasping initially how to play. So this was supposed to teach them what they were doing, right? So, and this is the order of your turn. The last card was, these are the orders in which you should do them. We did this for a couple of months. We made all kinds of notes, and we spent a lot of time observing kids and recording them on VHS to find out, yeah, this isn't gonna work. So what are we gonna do now? And so these got put away. When they got put away, we had 3 copies of these. We'll go back to the first one because that's the one that says all the rules. We had 3 copies of these that we were using in 3 different rooms with 2 kids in each room. And I brought my copy back to the office, and when this panned out and didn't really work the way we thought it was gonna do, I'll show you a couple of the other cards while I'm talking. Didn't quite play out the way we thought it was going to. I put them on my desktop. I let them sit there for a while. There were a couple in R&D. One of them got lost over the years. I think that one of the former R&D guys might still have the other one of these. But in the end, this was something that ended up in a drawer at my place, and then ended up in a drawer in my house, because when I left WotC after they were bought by Nintendo, I took all that Pokemon stuff and went home and put it all in a drawer. And then when I went back to Pokemon, I went back in 2004, I was there for 8 years, I didn't have any need for these. There were a whole new ways to teaching kids how to play. And so I didn't even think to look for these. Well, I opened a casual drawer in my house a couple of weeks ago, and ta-da, there they were, and sitting on top with a rubber band around them, and that's where they've been, I kid you not, since the late 90s. We did this before, I left in early 2000, so we did this in probably 99. So these have been sitting in a drawer for 2 decades, waiting for somebody to find them. In Leon's words, this is probably something like, Raiders of the Lost Ark. We found or Indiana Jones in general, we found the Holy Grail. So these came out in 99. It was after base set. Base set came out at the very end of 98. I remember it well because I was proofing it in the middle of the night with our designer, and I was also working on Wizards of the Coast magic stuff at the same time. Just back and forth between these 2 things. So it came out somewhere, I think, between Jungle and Fossil in 99. What we had discovered by watching kids play was that they were just comparing hit points to see which one was bigger, and that was the end. But we had these stores. Wizards of the Coast had opened a series of stores. We had a gaming center in the U District in Seattle, and it had video games. We had a giant dragon that I think eventually got moved into corporate. And so it hosted Magic, and we had Robo Rally, and we had Pokemon. And so we would see the kids in our retail outlets as well. We had a store, for instance, in one of the strip malls in Bellevue, and we would go over there and we'd watch these kids play. And so they'd come in and get around the table, and they'd compare all their cards, and they'd go up to the counter and buy them in stacks, and then come over and open up all the boosters and sort all the cards out. And then they would just turn a bunch of their Pokemon cards face down, shuffle them, and flip it over. And it was like playing war. It was literally war with Pokemon. What is the bigger card? I win. And they would keep points. So like, well, that's not even close to how this game is played. So the objective of these cards was to create flashcards where kids would learn it step by step. First how to play a Pokemon, then how to attach an energy, then how to attack, how to assess what your attack did with damage points, how to know when it was knocked out, how to take a prize, and then we get into more complicated stuff like evolving and retreating and that sort of stuff. So it was a period of time where we hadn't figured out yet that we needed to do demos, really. That we needed to go into retail outlets and game stores and say, we're going to show kids how to play. Now, they started doing it eventually at the Wizards of the Coast stores. But early on, we thought, well, we'll teach them how to play. So the way it worked was we went to this place where we looked behind the one-way glass, and a handler for the company would bring two kids in and say, okay, here's a deck and here's a deck, and here are these cards that have rules, play. Mm-hmm. And that was how they were supposed to learn, because that would be how they were acquired. The product that we were thinking of was to put these cards out as a learn to play Pokemon flashcard set.
And that was because at the time, kids were just
just comparing those hit points. They weren't playing. Well, there were a lot of people who were playing correctly, of course, but the younger they got, the more excited they were, and the less likely they were to learn how to play the game properly. Mm-hmm. So we thought, well, we'll make these flashcards and we'll do this testing, and we'll be so excited, we'll high-five each other, and boom, we'll have these on the market in 3 months. And then kids still didn't get it. They would look through the cards because they were seeing images on these flashcards that they hadn't seen before. They're really excited, and they'd get them all out of order. They had numbers on them. That was supposed to help, but they would get them all out of order, and then they go, okay, now what do we do? And then they'd shuffle through their decks, and they'd get them all, the decks all out of order, but the decks were structured so that it would give them, their opening hand would have the cards in it that we were telling them to play. Put this Pokemon down, it's in your hand. Mm-hmm. Attach this energy, it's in your hand, so that it in theory would be easy, but they'd get the cards all out of order. They wouldn't notice that the back of one of the cards told them the order that the cards were supposed to go in.
And this is you referring to the cards, cards that
the flash cards had a certain order, and then the little two decks that we gave them were structured in a certain order to play against each other, and it would teach them. Mm-hmm. But they'd get the flash cards out of order, they'd get the little individual decks out of order, and then they couldn't play. And so the flashcard sort of dissolved. We were real excited. We were super hyped up when it started. And the more we observed, the more we said, we need another plan.
Let's take a closer look at these Pokemon cards, starting off with the first one. And you'll see they're all numbered from 1 to 13. Pokemon flashcards, and all of the illustrations are original illustrations by illustrator Dave Woods, who, when I asked Michael Ryan as far as what was the inspiration for the type of illustrations, they were merely to be fun, original, and to try to get kids' attention and to make things, very, very simplistic for trying to teach them how to actually play the Pokemon TCG. So here's the first one, and I'll be showing you every single one. The cardstock feels like traditional Pokemon TCG cardstock. When I asked Michael Ryan as far as how they were made, it was just taking a back side and then a front side, putting them together. So it's not just one piece of cardboard, it's two that were, I guess, glued or stamped together. So there's the very first card. I got the second card coming up too, and what they would do with these specific cards, as he said, was you get two different types of decks. Very, very simplistic decks, as you are seeing here, with 14 fighting energies or a water deck, and the various Pokemon and different types of base set trainers. And essentially, they wanted the kids to go through these specific cards. What ended up not essentially working, but these were supposed to be printed and sold in various stores, like the Wizards of the Coast stores, which I didn't even know existed at that time, or even until he told us about them. But there's a little bit convoluted as far as like, wow, you're expecting a kid to read all of that. It didn't work out, but I still think the actual reasoning and main mission behind these cards is fantastic, and really think, if not already, there should be something else out there to make things very, very simple. This is really cool to see, that question how many energy cards, but like on the back of the actual specific card, and the actual illustration, it's just flying through the air, juggling the two energies. Very, very cool. Letting you know as far as like, you can't even do an attack without having an actual energy. And this is cool how they have like the lightning energy in the back. And then you get some more like just absolute random illustrations on some of these cards. with Dave Woods, again, doing all of the illustrations on these specific cards. I think these are so interesting and so cool that, again, thank you to Michael Ryan for coming on the channel once again and letting us see these absolutely incredible cards. Is there another question? If you have 3 Pokemon on your bench and you'll after Pokemon, which can you attach to your 1 energy to? There's the answer. Any of them! That's a cool little picture with Clefairy, Charmander, and Pikachu. And just so you can see a bit closer up what this specific card says. Now this is my favorite card. Pikachu, attack! Because you got the 1 energy that's attached to the Pikachu, so it can do Nah. Well, what's the question? How many times can you attack each turn? Once, as the answer says right there. But I just love this illustration. I don't know where he got that. I guess he just drew that, and we're just like, that's a blurred out crowd in the background. That's so cool to see. Pikachu attack. Moving on to the next one. Got the traditional Staryu illustration or whatever, CGI in the background. Let's say your Pokemon just did 70 damage. How many damage counters goes on your friend's Pokemon? And it says 7, because they do 10 damage each. And then there is the actual description of the card. And then we have, let me go just the question first. If your friend's Pokemon has 60 HP, how many damage counters will it take to knock out that specific Pokemon? 6 or more. So very, very simplistic questions. No, these don't punch out. They were actually printed on the card. Sorry, Staryu in the background, but that's a Pikachu, I guess, doing a little educational series. Very cool looking card. When you actually, let's say, draw a prize. Is it still your turn, or is it your friend's turn? It's your friend's turn now, but you get to take a prize. Knock out a Pokemon, you get a prize. Not your friend's prizes. You can only take your prizes. I want my friend's one, but I guess you gotta say that, you know? It could get confusing like that, but I think it's really cool. His little finger grabbing the trophy. Another one of my favorites, Pikachu Retreat. If your active Pokemon's retreat cost is 2 colorless energies, how much and what kind of energy do you have to discard it or retreat, and where does that energy go to? Just so you can see, they have the answer as 2 energy of any kind, and the energy goes into your discard pile. And then I love the actual specific artwork. There's the bench again, Charmander. Pikachu's like waving the white flag for retreat. And just so you can see exactly what it says. So this is a lot of information on these cards. I just think these are so cool and very historic as well. Question on this one, pretend that you have 3 trainer cards in your hand. How many can you use on your turn? I believe it should be all of them if you want. And it says, yeah, it's all 3 if you want. So there you go, trainer cards. It's just like oh, trainer cards are one-shot helping cards. And then you have to discard them after you're done, of course. Very cool looking card with the Raichu card, usually a holographic. This one kind of blur out that side over there, grayed out with Pikachu. Question is, let's say that Raichu gets knocked out and gets discarded. What happens to the Pikachu? It evolved from the energy cards. Attach, it all gets discarded too! They all get discarded too. It's like I subconsciously somehow read these before. Basic Pokemon can evolve into bigger. And then there you can see, they're not in the best condition because these were actually played. And as Michael Ryan said, this is basically the only known set of these. I believe there was like 3 printed overall, 1 probably trashed, the other probably trashed, but not exactly sure what happened to the second one, but for sure for the third one. So this is the only known versions of these specific cards. And then there's the 13th and final card, but it just has the order. Now I got another card I want to show you real quick, but just so you can see the specific card. And then last but not least, we have these. This is a playtest card, which yes, this is a blank, legit Pokemon card. They're called playtest cards that they would put these stickers on to actually show you the type of Pokemon, what they are, and their actual HP, their attacks, their damage, and all the other information. And they would use these and make decks from these. So I thought this was really cool because this one's Hitmonlee, which is a rare Pokemon, and wanted to show you that.
If you enjoyed this video, please click on the end screen clip right now or link in the description to go watch when Michael Ryan was in my studio and revealed tons and tons of more cards and fun items. Stay awesome, stay positive, and I'll see y'all next time.